Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live. We are live broadcasting from the Intermountain West in the United States. It's about half past the hour, half past noon. I apologize. We were hoping to start at noon, but technical difficulties, as usual. One of these days, it'll be perfect. So that's the idea. I guess I need to do it more than once a week. Okay, so I received. You've seen the title of today's broadcast. The broadcast today is entitled "Remove the Break in Your Voice." I received an email from one of my students. Well, actually, it was, an email from a new subscriber to Power to Sing, a new member of Power to Sing. And it's from a gentleman named Raven from Southern California. And here's what he said. My biggest singing problem is transitioning from normal singing to falsetto. It either cracks in between or is just mute. I've tried fixing it by practicing it over and over again. It has gotten slightly better over the past few months, but not to perfection. So when he says he can't transition from his regular singing voice into falsetto, I think he means his head voice. He can't transition between the head voice because it breaks. If he doesn't break, it doesn't get some kind of sound, then he gets no sound at all. This was exactly my problem. When I was a youth, until I was 43 years old, I couldn't sing past the E above middle C. That was where my break was. So today I want to talk about this problem. It's interesting because through the years, as I've interviewed new singers, they have said, and I've asked them, what's the main problem that you're facing with your voice? The vast majority of them would say, well, I can't sing very high, or I want to sing higher. And that's what they wanted to work on with their voices. And it was because they couldn't get through this break area of the voice. Now, my intent today is to show you how to get through the break area. We'll just use one method of doing this, and see if I can't demonstrate how it happened for me, at least one of the tools that was used on my voice that helped me get there. My intent today is also to do Q&A. So I would really like to invite you to you don't even okay. So I've got several questions already here, or comments that I'll address in a few minutes. So let me go back to, I'm just going to be brief. My story, you can read all about it, watch it on a video. If you go to powertosing.com and go to the About page, and down in the very bottom, there's another tab there that will take you to more of my story if you want to dive deep into it. Fundamentally, I sang all of my life. I was in choirs all my life, and then in high school I got into musical theater and started taking voice lessons, and realized at that point, I didn't think anything about it. I didn't think there was anything wrong. I just knew that I couldn't sing past the E above middle C, and if I sang the F, it was very strained. It was just really very difficult for me, without it breaking or cracking or certainly going flat. And even the E above middle C was difficult. The D above middle C was, I thought, well, I can handle that. And I would just full out blast it in chest. And even then, the pitch at times was not great. Why? Why did this happen? I just thought I was born that way. That's what I was born with in my voice. And so that mentality made me think that, and my current voice teacher in high school, she said that you're a bass. And so all the literature that we worked on and all the exercises we worked on, just worked on basically notes from E above middle C down to the bottom. Well, this is a mindset that I lived with all my life until I was 43 years old. And when I was 43, I had a daughter who was in 10th grade in high school. And she came home and brought a flyer, and she said there was a man coming from Los Angeles, California, to do a seminar, a workshop, and he teaches Michael Jackson, and he teaches all these stars. It was the Teacher of the Stars is the way it was billed. And this ended up being Seth Riggs. Well, this was a wonderful workshop. This is a year ago this month, or sorry, 20 years ago this month, in November of '96. And the first thing we did, and I think I've shared this, but we all stood up, and there was like 200 of us in this auditorium, and did this. All of a sudden, I thought, what was that? Because I just went up really high in my voice, but I knew it wasn't falsetto because I didn't feel it crack, and it was just a strange experience. So right away, it got my attention. And so thank you everyone for joining me. And please, as you have questions, put them down in chat and I'll get to them. In the process of time, and here's the crazy thing, and I'm sharing this with you because maybe you have experienced this too. You think that this is normal. You think that this is the way you were born. You think that you had this limitation in your voice, and that's the way it is, because that's the way it's always been. And yet you hear other people. Well, my best friend in high school could sing. He had a tenor voice, and he could sing way up there, and seemingly didn't have this break. And you'd hear I'd see people in college when I went to the university. They were singing up there, and I said, well, they're tenors. That's, they were born tenors. I was born a bass, and so, that's why I can't sing there. This is not true. And so when I began my studies with one of the teachers that Seth had here in my area, within 6 weeks, I was singing notes that I had never sung before. Well, I was singing the F above middle C. I mean, I could sing it. And pretty soon the F sharp and the G and so forth. This was an absolute miracle to me. All right. So I learned at that time that it was not really, I wasn't physically limited. I just didn't know how to get through that break area. That break area is called the bridge. And before, as I approached the bridge, I would just kind of yell it or go in the falsetto. And it wasn't that good, really. I mean, it was because I was really pulling my chest voice up. Or I would break. So what I would do, honestly, I would just stop. I wouldn't even try and sing any higher. I'd just sing, that's all. I can't go any higher. Or, I could break into falsetto. But, when you're singing musical theater and you've got a big note at the very end of the song and it's the F, you can't do and be a man character. So let me share with you today a concept that I want you to realize. A couple concepts. Number one, you don't have to be born with a special gift to get through the bridge. However, it is so new and so strange feeling at first that it's a real hurdle. It's a hurdle because you've mentally got to begin to accept the fact that you can get through your bridge in the voice. Now, the bridge just means that You have chest voice, which is your low notes, and you have head voice, which is your higher pitched notes, your higher register. And in the middle here, this middle area is this bridge. So the bridge is the transition area, or the passageway from low voice through the bridge, through the passage, through the passaggio, the Italians call the Italian name, and up into your head voice and back down again. So this bridge or this passaggio or this passage is the transition zone from chest voice into head voice and back down, moving back and forth. And it literally is a passageway. And we can learn, all of us, the whole world, the universe, can learn how to get through this without cracking or breaking, or without pulling up their chest voice, or without going into falsetto. And it's just learning certain skills. Now here's, I'm going to give you an exercise today that works for many. Now, not one exercise works for every person, but due to time limitations today, I'm just going to cover this one. It's called the bratty neigh. Now, when I first did this, I did it really hard. Neigh, 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 neigh. I did it, really hard, and you do it a little bit. It's a temporary thing that you do. You go a little bit. You do a little bit of a funny sound. We call it a witchy voice, or a puppet voice, or a bratty voice. Neigh, 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 neigh. So then, obviously, I'm working in pitches for men. Ladies, your bridge is the A above middle C. And you experience the same thing. So in your register, you would do it we would do it up higher so that to take you through the bridge. Let me start with the men. So if I said, neigh. Now, here's the thing that I've begun to learn even more as of late, and that is, don't do it loud and don't do it hard. Just do that little bratty sound. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Now, that's not loud, but it's lighter than chest, but deeper than falsetto. That's not a falsetto voice. This is falsetto. Neigh, 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 neigh. You can hear how neigh, 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 neigh is deeper into the chord structure, deeper into the vocal cords. There's more body to the sound, more substance to the sound, more overtones to the sound. Fundamentally, the vocal cords have remained adducted or connected. Now, the secret to this whole exercise is to not push it hard. Don't do it loud. Don't do it so hard that it makes that transition. So the step between their chest and your upper voice, which is your head voice, so large that you can't get through without it cracking. Go light. Let me show it again. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. If it starts to get a little wobbly or scratchy, that's okay. The one thing is, rather than get louder, though, I would go a little bit brattier. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Neigh, 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 neigh. Now I'm already up to the A flat. That's what's possible with this. Now we're laying down footprints in the snow, so to speak. In other words, a mental, neurological pathway through this area that once you could not do successfully without cracking or breaking. That little bratty neigh, that little exercise that we just did, enables you to get through there without breaking. That's laying down a new emotional, neurological feedback that you can get through that without disrupting the tone, without the vocal cords coming apart. Now, to illustrate that for the ladies, I'm going to start you at the middle C. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, nay, nay. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. Now that's the high C sharp. I'm going through the ladies' first bridge, which happens to be the men's second bridge for the tenors and the baritones and many of the basses. So this is how it's done. Now, once you get through that, once you're able to do that more routinely, then you can start dropping or getting away from that bratty sound, because it does elevate the larynx a little bit. So eventually you want to go a little more normal. Nay, 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 nay. Nay, 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 nay. So you're retraining your system to accept this new approach, this new coordination. And it's basically, it's like learning to ride a bicycle. I've used that comparison before. It's like learning how to do anything for the first time. At first, it's awkward. At first, it feels strange. But the way I've demonstrated it is a way that it will work. Now, there are many other different things that we can do to help you get to the bridge. The message is you can do it, and you can do it without pulling the chest voice up. You can do it without flipping in the falsetto. You can do it without yelling it, screaming it, feeling the tension. So I'd like to address some of the questions that have come up from several of you. And I can see there's some discussion going on. So Violet Rose says, I don't even know how to sing falsetto. I have had some students who could not get into falsetto, or wouldn't allow their voices to break into falsetto. And so for the men, it's easier, I think, to do. But for the ladies, it's a very common occurrence just to let go of the vocal cords and break into falsetto. Essentially what that falsetto sounds like is, in order to come back down into the chest voice, it has to reconnect. It's a physical dislocation. Now, not a dislocation. It's a physical break or separation of the vocal folds, where they break apart, and then they're barely just touching. If this were the depth of the chords, they're barely just touching the very top. And there's a lot of air that escapes. And in order to get all the way fully down into the vocal cords again, as you get into chest voice, it has to clunk back in, as you heard. Someone has said, thank you for the channel. You are very welcome. So here's two questions from Violet Rose. How do you find your falsetto? That's a question that I've just demonstrated, that you break into falsetto. Now, I don't teach people how to find falsetto. I teach singers how to not do falsetto. I teach them how to get into head voice. And there's a difference. One is vocal cords are connected. That's the head voice. That's head voice. Now, because it vibrates in the head, it feels very similar to falsetto, because falsetto also vibrates in the head voice. main difference is that because the chords are have separated or broken apart, when you come back down into the chest voice, because they are separated, in order to get into the full depth, the vocal cords to get into the full depth of chest voice, they have to reestablish the connection, and there's this interruption of the tone quality. That means I was in falsetto. If I was in my head voice, the vocal folds would have already been connected. There's no reconnection. She asked if practicing over time will fix my pitch. One of the problems that I faced, for example, because I couldn't get through the bridge of my voice, when I would approach the bridge, it would go flat. Because I was bumping up against this ceiling, it felt like. A place I couldn't get through. And so naturally the pitch begins to suffer as a result of that. When you learn to bridge, or to bridge through, or to go through the bridge and eliminate that break, then many, if not most, of the pitch problems resolve themselves, because you're not bumping up against the top of the chest voice. You're not forcing or pulling up the chest voice. You're able to transition through the bridge, the passaggio. Now, so the resonance shifts up above the soft palate, above the roof of your mouth, and goes into your head, and so the vocal cords are also thinning and reducing in the vibrating element is reduced a little bit, and so they're able to tension appropriately for the correct pitch, and so the combination of these things eliminates the pitch problems. So several of you have commented how you go into falsetto when you're singing, and yeah, so I used to, the comment was, when I reach a certain point I have to scream or switch into falsetto. That's because you don't know how to get through the bridge, and hopefully this has been a little bit of an explanation as to how this can happen, how you can get through the bridge. The comment was practicing every day, but the F4, that's the F above middle C, is his bridge note. Actually, technically speaking, the bridge begins at the C above, or excuse me, at the E above middle C. That's the first note for the bridge. F is where you want to break. It's just because you're pulling more and more weight from the bottom. And so if you use this little bratty sound, nay, 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 that's the beginning. That's the footprint in the snow. Now you know where you have to travel to get through that bridge area, but it's possible, and that's how you start building that. Hi, Raji. Nice to see you, and I'm doing well. Well, I want to make sure that if you don't have any more questions, we'll wrap this up. My whole motivation, because this was such an amazing discovery, and so many wonderful things. Now I do musical theater, and I've been able to sing so many other parts, to get so many other roles, because of this ability to get through this break, to eliminate the break, and to transition into head voice. That it just brought an immense joy into my life, and it means so much to me. It means so much to me because it hurt so bad earlier in my life not to be able to do it. And it's changed everything. And so I want to share this with the universe, with Earth and beyond, because so many of us just don't know that it's possible. We think we're limited by birth or talent or gift. It's absolutely not true. I was as stuck as anyone else, and I didn't even know I was stuck. I just thought that was my life. I just thought that was my, that's the way I was built. Not true. And so, power to sing, that's my mission. And my byline is, you can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. You can do it. And so one of the things I recommend is you go to my website, if you haven't already, and many of you who are listening perhaps have already done this, but you go to Power to Sing, and you go to the home page. Let me just bring that up. And if you go to the home page, there is what's called the power test. You can see this on the screen. Here's a video that explains how to do it. Essentially what you do is you push this button and it starts the recording. And while that's recording, you push this and you get...
Gentlemen,
you get a piano accompaniment.
make sure your starting pitch is
and
not here.
I explain this. You can hear this like
up here.
So many of the men would start an octave low.
That's your starting note.
That I had to explain this so that people could get the right pitch. But this is recording now, and you record your vocal
Begin.
test, the power test. And what you do then is you now have it recorded, and you come down here, you can re-listen to it, you can listen to it again, replay it, and then you answer the questions. Does it feel like I'm yelling or straining or forcing my voice? You answer the question one by one and then submit it. And you'll get, you'll receive what's called your vocal type. Or you can email it to me, I'll listen to it and send it to you. But I get so many of those. Well, I know there are hundreds of people who use the quiz, which is great. So when you get your vocal type, it'll be one of four things: pull, chest, high larynx. And let me go up to the Knowledge Center. You go to the Knowledge Center, and so your vocal type will be one of four things: pull, chest, high larynx, which is what I tend to do. Now, what I'm saying is that when you go through the bridge of your voice, you tend to do certain things. What I tend to do, and what I tended to do, was pull my chest voice up. And so my vocal type would be pulled chest, high larynx. Or there are many people who just simply can't get through it. And so one of the things they do is just do it really light. And they sing that way. So they're light chest, no chest. Or flip falsetto, the same way. They'll be singing along. They'll flip into falsetto. Or then there's very few in the world today, if you don't know how to do this yet, that can do this with a mix. Now I use a mixed voice. And so if I were to take the test, I would be mixed. But my tendency is, let me just come back to you. My tendency is, if I'm not careful, then the larynx starts to rise, and I tend to pull up the chest. That's my life habit. Okay, so I can do it with a mix, but I have to be very vigilant. And it took me some months to be able to do it that well. It's taken me some years, frankly. But so my point is that on the website, then you go to the Knowledge Center and you watch the videos about your vocal type. So let's just say it's pull, chest, high larynx. And then you click on Pull Chest High Larynx, and it will take you to a page where you can now watch videos. I explain it in detail here. I give you exercises and demonstrate those. And then here's some examples of famous singers who pulled their chest voice up. 6 of these people in this mashup of pull chest high larynx have had surgery on their voices, on their vocal cords. Then you can download exercises that are made just for your vocal type. And so that's why I've designed everything in Power to Sing like this, so that you find out what you tend to do when you go through the bridge, and that's your vocal type, and then you can download exercises that help correct that. So you can get through the bridge appropriately without pulling chest, without cracking the falsetto, without going really, really breathy or light. And that gets you on the road to, some great changes. Hope this has been helpful. Let me just double check again and see if there are other questions that I can field before we call it an afternoon, a broadcast. Sergey, thank you. He said this is a great video. Thank you very much. I have voted. In America, we're having elections today for the President of the United States. It's been crazy. It probably always is everywhere. Like head voice and chest voice pitches. Will practice fix that too? What I found that by doing the exercises that I teach, my voice improves all the way around. Especially when you learn to get through the bridge, it helps your chest voice and it helps your head voice. So the entire voice improves as you learn to deal with this area of the bridge, as you learn to eliminate the break. So that's a summary to eliminating the break today. Go to powertosing.com, take the vocal test, which I call the power test. Find out your vocal type. Go to the Knowledge Center, watch all those videos on your vocal type, and then there's exercises designed for your specific vocal type that are going to help improve, going to help you get through the bridge of your voice and really start you on the road to not only a vocal transformation, but a life transformation. It's transformed my life. That's I think that's apparent. And it's brought tremendous joy, tremendous excitement and happiness into my life just to be able to do that. Okay. And then it leads to other really great things. You start being able to sing what you want to sing and accomplish your singing goals. So I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing, and this is Power to Sing Broadcast Live, number 7. Thank you for being with me today. And please, if you're watching this video as a recording, if you like what you've seen and experienced, be sure and give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Be sure to subscribe to Power to Sing on the YouTube channel, and then come over and watch and investigate the website, powertosing.com. Thanks. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. I'll see you inside the next broadcast or video. See you soon.